It was supposed to be a summer of connection. For 18-year-old Giovanni Pelletier, the trip to Florida was a chance to bridge a gap he'd felt his whole life. Growing up in North Carolina, Giovanni knew his mother's side of the family well. Birthdays, holidays, weekend cookouts. But his father's side was a different story. They were more like shadows in his family tree. People he'd only heard about in passing or seen online. That summer, the opportunity to meet them seemed to fall perfectly into place. Giovanni's mother, Bridget, her fiancé, and the kids planned a trip to Englewood, Florida. The purpose was bittersweet, to visit a relative undergoing chemotherapy. But for Giovanni, there was also a spark of excitement. His cousins from Brevard County were within driving distance. It would be his first real chance to spend time with them in person. By all accounts, Giovanni was the kind of young man who liked people. Friends say he could be quiet at first, but once he opened up, there was a warmth to him, a blend of curiosity and humor that made him easy to be around. He had a habit of listening more than he spoke, which made his words carry weight when he did share his thoughts. The days in Englewood were hot and humid, the air thick with that heavy Florida summer feeling. Giovanni spent time with his immediate family, enjoying the slower pace and the comfort of being away from home. But the plan to meet his cousins was never far from his mind. That meeting was set for the night of July 31st into the early hours of August 1st. His cousins, relatives he'd only messaged before, would be picking him up in a white Chevy Malibu for a late-night drive to Brevard County. From there, he'd meet other extended family and spend time on the opposite coast of the state. To anyone else, the idea of heading out at 1:30 in the morning might have seemed unusual. But for Giovanni, who was eager to make up for years of missed time, it was worth it. He said goodbye to his mother and headed out the door with a small backpack and his phone, both of which, unbeknownst to anyone, would soon become haunting symbols in a case that gripped multiple Florida counties. The cousin's car pulled up, headlights cutting through the darkness. Giovanni got in, sliding into the back seat. It was a short drive by Florida standards, just over 3 hours across the state, and the early morning quiet might have made it feel even shorter. But the trip would not go as planned. About 25 minutes into the ride, as the Malibu traveled north on I-75 near Bradenton, Giovanni sent a text to his mother. It was simple, urgent, and chilling. "Mom, help me." The timestamp would later become one of the most important details in the investigation. It was the last direct communication Giovanni's family would ever receive from him. What happened inside that car in those 25 minutes remains one of the biggest unanswered questions in the case. It was late at night when Giovanni Pelletier, just 18 years old, pulled out his phone and sent a message no mother ever wants to read. "Mom, I need help." He didn't say much more. No exact location, no details about what had gone wrong. Just those 4 words, laced with urgency. Giovanni was traveling from North Carolina to Florida to visit family in Brevard County. A trip he'd made before, but something about this time felt off. Hours earlier, his family recalls, it sounded upbeat. His social media activity had been normal, even playful. But now something had changed. That short, haunting text was followed by silence. No calls, no further messages. His mother tried to reach him again and again. Every call went straight to voicemail. Every text remained unread. Family members reached out to friends, combed through his social media for clues, and retraced his expected travel route, hoping for anything that might lead to him. What frightened them the most was Giovanni's character. He was reliable, responsible, and incredibly close to his family. Disappearing without contact was simply not in his nature. The family reported him missing to both Brevard County and Manatee County authorities, desperate to bridge the gap between the last place they knew he'd been and where he was supposed to arrive. Days passed with no word, until whispers began to circulate about possible sightings, each one more vague than the last. But the clock was ticking. For every hour that passed, the fear that Giovanni might be in serious danger grew heavier. If you or anyone you know has any information about what happened to Giovanni Pelletier between July 27th and August 5th, 2025, you are urged to contact the Manatee County Sheriff's Office or Brevard County Sheriff's Office immediately. You can also submit tips anonymously through Crime Stoppers. Stop sign in for my viewers. If you want to follow this case closely and stay updated on the fight for justice for Giovanni, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now. Your engagement not only supports my work, but also helps keep Giovanni's story alive in the public eye, where it needs to be until answers come. Giovanni Pelletier's final messages to his mother were short, panicked, and deeply unsettling. His words, "Mom, please help me. I don't feel safe," were not something she'd ever heard from her 18-year-old son before. Giovanni was known for his independence. Even when traveling, he rarely asked for help unless the situation was serious. The timestamp on that message was just after 1:30 p.m. on July 27th. His mother immediately called him back, but the call rang out. She tried again, same result. She then texted, "Where are you? What's happening?" but got no reply. For a brief moment, she considered whether this would be a misunderstanding. Maybe his phone was dying, or he was just anxious about being in an unfamiliar area. But deep down, she felt something was wrong. Over the next hour, she kept calling and texting, but Giovanni's phone showed no signs of activity. That sinking feeling began to grow. She knew her son had been traveling to Florida from North Carolina to see family in Brevard County, but this was not the welcome home trip she'd imagined. By 3 p.m., she contacted other family members to see if anyone had heard from Giovanni. No one had. In fact, the last confirmed sighting of him was earlier that day when a friend in Manatee County saw him at a local convenience store. According to that friend, Giovanni seemed nervous and kept looking over his shoulder as if he feared someone was following him. Investigators would later piece together that between the time Giovanni was last seen and the moment he texted his mom, he had made several unexplained stops. Surveillance footage captured him entering and leaving a gas station alone, wearing a dark t-shirt and shorts, his backpack slung over one shoulder. But his behavior was described as erratic, pacing outside, pulling out his phone repeatedly, then quickly putting it away. The final location ping from Giovanni's phone placed him in a rural stretch between Manatee and Brevard County. After that, the device went silent. That night, his family reported him missing to local authorities. Florida's law enforcement agencies began circulating his photo, a young man with dark hair, a lean build, and a warm smile, across internal bulletins. Detectives questioned whether his disappearance was voluntary or if foul play was involved, but his mother refused to believe he'd just walked away from his life. She told reporters, "He's not the kind of kid who disappears without telling someone. He was scared. He told me he needed help. That's not something you ignore." The Manatee County Sheriff's Office began combing through nearby surveillance cameras, interviewing people who might have crossed paths with Giovanni that day. They also reached out to Brevard County deputies, hoping to track whether he'd made it closer to his family's home. A break came when a witness came forward, claiming they had seen someone matching Giovanni's description walking along a secluded road near a wooded area that afternoon. This location was about 15 miles from where his last phone ping had been detected. On August 5th, more than a week after he vanished, searchers made a grim discovery in Brevard County. In a patch of thick brush, partially obscured from the road, they found a body. The clothing matched what Giovanni had been wearing. His family was notified, and soon after, authorities confirmed what they had feared. It was Giovanni. The cause of death has not yet been officially released, and investigators remain tight-lipped about whether foul play is suspected. But the timing, the location, and Giovanni's last known messages have left the family convinced that someone out there knows exactly what happened. Giovanni's mother, still visibly shaken, has made multiple public appeals for information. At one press conference, her voice cracked as she held up a photo of her son. "Someone took my boy from me. I don't care who you are. If you know something, speak up." The family has since increased the reward for information to $25,000. They hope that this will encourage someone who's been holding back to finally come forward. Investigators have not ruled anything out. They are exploring every possibility, from the chance that Giovanni encountered someone dangerous during his travels, to the theory that he was lured into a situation he couldn't escape. For now, the case remains open and active. Why this matters? Giovanni's disappearance and death highlight a terrifying reality that young people, even those who are street smart and careful, can find themselves in life-threatening situations far from home. His last message to his mother was a desperate call for help that ended without an answer. And it's not just about Giovanni. This case serves as a reminder that when someone says they feel unsafe, it should always be taken seriously, immediately. Time is everything in situations like this. If you want to follow this case closely and stay updated on the fight for justice for Giovanni, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now. Your engagement not only supports my work, but also helps keep Giovanni's story alive in the public eye, where it needs to be until answers come. Ask ChatGPT. The discovery of Giovanni Pelletier's body only deepened the anguish surrounding his disappearance, as investigators shifted from a missing person case to a potential homicide inquiry. The pressure to find answers mounted. The body was found in a retention pond just off the southbound ramp of Interstate 75 and State Road 70 in Manatee County, the same area where Giovanni was last seen. The secluded spot was surrounded by thick brush and difficult terrain, which initially hampered search efforts. Law enforcement carefully processed the area for evidence, looking for anything that might explain how Giovanni ended up there. The preliminary autopsy revealed no immediate signs of trauma or foul play, but officials cautioned that toxicology and further forensic tests would be necessary before drawing conclusions. While the lack of obvious injury puzzled investigators, the circumstances raised many questions. Why was Giovanni in such an isolated location? What had happened during the final moments of his life? The investigation unearthed several witness statements from family members, friends, and strangers that offer conflicting narratives. Giovanni's cousins, who had been traveling with him shortly before he disappeared, described his behavior as erratic. According to their account, he suddenly exited their vehicle near the interstate and began acting strangely. However, Giovanni's family disputed this characterization, insisting that such behavior was completely out of character. Friends described Giovanni as calm and level-headed, not prone to sudden mood swings or irrational actions. Law enforcement interviewed other individuals who had been near the area that night, but no definitive sightings or leads emerged from those conversations. Surveillance footage remained limited, and with time passing, physical evidence was harder to find. Speculation quickly filled the void left by a lack of clear answers. Some suggested Giovanni may have experienced a mental health crisis or a medical emergency that caused him to wander into the area. Others worried about foul play, the possibility that he had been targeted or harmed by someone he encountered during his trip. Authorities remain cautious not to jump to conclusions. They have neither ruled out nor confirmed foul play, emphasizing that the case is still open and under active investigation. The family, meanwhile, has taken a more public stance. Beyond raising the reward for information, they have used social media to keep Giovanni's memory alive and to plead for justice. They hold vigils and events to raise awareness, and volunteers from local groups have continued to search areas near the last known locations. The community's support has been a crucial pillar for the family amid the uncertainty. This case highlights the crucial role that public awareness and timely tips can play in missing person investigations. Even the smallest piece of information can help piece together a timeline or uncover new leads. If you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel for in-depth updates on Giovanni Pelletier's case and other important true crime stories. Sharing these videos helps keep the conversation alive and increases the chances that someone with critical information will come forward. If you have any information, no matter how small or insignificant it may seem, reach out to the Manatee County or Brevard County Sheriff's offices or submit an anonymous tip to Crime Stoppers. Your voice could be the key to justice. Ask ChatGPT. The discovery of Giovanni Pelletier's body in early August was a moment of heartbreaking finality for his family. The end of a harrowing chapter filled with uncertainty and fear. But for them, it was just the beginning of a new struggle, coping with the loss of a beloved son while demanding answers and justice. Giovanni's mother, Bridget, has spoken openly about the crushing pain of losing her child under such tragic and mysterious circumstances. In interviews, she described nights spent staring at her phone, hoping for a message that would never come. Every mother's worst nightmare, she said. Not knowing where your child is, not knowing what happened, and then finding out in the worst way possible. Friends and extended family have rallied around her, providing support, but no words can fully heal the wound left behind. Giovanni's siblings talk about him often, cherishing memories, and try and make sense of a loss that feels unjust and senseless. Even after the body was found, the family refused to stop searching, not just for answers, but for truth. They have worked closely with law enforcement, attended public forums, and appealed to the community for any leads. Volunteer groups like We Are the Essentials have helped organize searches near the location where Giovanni was last seen, hoping to uncover overlooked clues. Their tireless efforts are a testament to how much Giovanni's story has touched people beyond his immediate family. In an effort to encourage witnesses or those with information to come forward, the family increased the reward for tips from $10,000 to $25,000. They hope this financial incentive will help break through the silence that often surrounds such cases. At press conferences, Bridget's voice breaks as she pleads, "Please, if you know something, say something. My son deserves justice." As investigations continue, the family clings to hope. Hope that truth will emerge, hope that justice will be served, and hope that Giovanni's memory will be honored. They have started a memorial fund in his name, dedicating resources to support other families dealing with missing loved ones. It's their way of turning tragedy into action, ensuring Giovanni's legacy is not forgotten. If Giovanni's story has touched you, please consider subscribing to this channel for the latest updates and exclusive coverage. Sharing this video can make a difference. It amplifies Giovanni's voice and reminds the world that no missing person should be forgotten. Remember, your tip, your share, your attention can be the key to justice. The tragic story of Giovanni Pelletier is a stark reminder of how fragile life can be, especially for young people traveling far from home and the safety of their known world. An 18-year-old with dreams, family ties, and a future full of potential, Giovanni's life was cut short under mysterious circumstances that still demand answers. His disappearance sparked a community-wide search, a multi-agency investigation, and a family's relentless quest for truth and justice. Though the discovery of his body brought devastating closure to some questions, many remain unanswered, leaving loved ones, friends, and investigators to piece together a story that still feels incomplete. Giovanni's family continues to hope for justice, for accountability, and for awareness that can prevent similar tragedies. Their journey is a powerful call to all of us to listen carefully when someone cries out for help, as Giovanni did, and to act swiftly and compassionately. His legacy now lives on in the hearts of those who knew and loved him, and in the community that refuses to forget. If you've been moved by Giovanni's story, please subscribe to this channel. Your subscription helps us continue telling important stories like his, shining a light on the victims, the families, and the search for justice. Don't forget to share this video to keep Giovanni's memory alive and encourage anyone with information to come forward. Together, we can make a difference. Thank you for watching,